Like, yeah, it's not something really very important. Yeah.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, the district of Chetwynd. Can you get the opening statement read, please?
As we gather today on the traditional territory of the Treaty 8 Nations to conduct the business of the District of Chetwynd, we do so knowing that we are privileged to serve the citizens of this community, and we shall endeavor to conduct our business in their best interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Prior to adoption of the agenda, is there any new business from council? Councilor Deck?
Yeah, I'd just like to bring up a bit of a tax issue. I've read something about it.
Council, is that it for new business? Okay, not hearing any. Adoption of the agenda with the tax issue as new business.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Carried. Minutes of the regular council meeting held on September 5th, 2023.
Motion to receive. Second.
All those in favor? Carried. M2, minutes of the tax sale held on September 25th, 2023. Any motion?
Motion to receive. Second.
Any discussion on it? Councilor McDonald?
Just a quick one. Do people typically show up to this? I see that there was nobody in attendance, like from the public. Is that typical?
Yeah.
It's not generally a very well attended thing. The properties that get sold are getting, in this case, there were 2 empty lots. A couple of places that were in pretty bad shape, so they're not real valuable. And if you're in a community that has a lot of valuable property, yes, you will get a lot of people show up to try and bid on them, but in the last 10 years, I think we've only had 3 of these, so.
Councilor Nelson?
So I did look at the properties. It looks to me, like you said, a couple of residences, which I believe that families are living in. What's the next option? Will those homes go for a tax sale?
Properties sold at the tax sale this year are now deemed to have been purchased by the district. The current owners have 1 year to redeem the property by paying all the outstanding on it. If that doesn't happen, it gets transferred to the district of Chetwynd. Full title clear.
So with that being said, it gets transferred to the district of Chetwynd. Would you then be evicting the current tenants and selling the property, or what's the next step?
I believe only one of them is actually, hasn't anybody living in it at the moment. And that's one that we would have to have some discussions on how we want to handle that going forward. The other one I think is, there was discussions about whether or not the property should be condemned, so there's nobody living in it right now, to my knowledge.
The question was eviction. I think that would be a legal matter, and I believe that stuff that we leave to our legal entities, right? If we
Yeah.
decide that that's something that legal would be taken care of, not council. So council will get information from our legal in that matter.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Carry. No delegations, bylaw. District of Chetwynd tax exempt bylaw number 1164 2023 requires first, second, and third readings.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on it? Councilman McDonald?
I noticed in the top part of the bylaw, there's exhibits up until exhibit 14, and then I see exhibit 15 down at the bottom in the map, like the pictures. And it's for Pine Valley Flying Club. Are they part of the societies section up there, or are they like standalone?
That exhibit needs to be removed, I'm sorry. It was presented as part of the draft last year, and I guess it got carried forward, I guess that.
Okay, that'll be have to come in at our next meeting and show that it's been removed. Or can we do that right now, Steve?
You can make the amendment to the bylaw now, and then when we bring it back at the next meeting, it can be adopted with the revision that's done to it tonight.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Okay, we have to make that amendment if you want to, Councilman McDonald.
I'll make the motion to amend the bylaw. This one, to remove, exhibit 15.
Okay, we'll just get that read back to us, please. The amendment.
Yes, the amendment will be District of Chetwynd tax exemption bylaw number 1164 2023, amended to remove exhibit 15, requires first, second, and third readings.
On the amendment, any discussion?
I believe we still need a seconder for the amendment as well.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Discussion? All those in favor of the amendment? Carried. Okay, with the amendment on the motion, any discussion on that? All those in favor? Carried. We will go to committee reports. And we'll start with the mayor's report. UPCM was a great success, meeting with Minister of Municipal Affairs, Ann Kang, to discuss our satellite taxation boundaries, which the district needs to have control over its taxes to maintain a solid revenue for industry in the satellite boundary areas. CAO will have a little bit more on that matter. We also met with the Forest Minister, Bruce Ralston. This was an intense meeting on my part. The passion for the forest industry in Northeast BC on my part was a great concern to me and council because of the fact Canfor's closure and for the continued success of West Fraser Sawmill. Discussion was about permitting in the northeast of BC. This area hasn't had a permit in approximately 2 years in the forest industry. And I met with myself and the CEO met with Michael Lee, the Shadow Ministry of Indigenous Relations, discussing a little bit about affordable housing with the Métis and with the First Nations relevant to Chetwynd. And CEO will have, I believe, read his report, and he's got a little bit more, so I will not elaborate on that. Northern Health. So we had a discussion with Northern Health, and one of the items that was brought up was doctors. So that was one of the first things that was brought up. And we brought to their attention that agency nurses that were brought in to run our ER so that we can stay open. So that was one of the things that is brought up just about in every Northern Health meeting that we have, so that we are not closing our hospital, our ER for those reasons. And one of the things that happened at the UBCM, there was 4 members of the North were elected as members at large to be part of the UBCM executive for 2023-2024 year. Michael Moses, Williams Lake Councillor, Corey Ramsey, Prince George Councillor, Sarah Story, Mayor Village of Fraser Lake, and Gord Klassen, Port St. John Councillor. So we got a good representation from the North on the UBCM executive. I had the pleasure, this was a personal thing to me, and I put it in my report because of that fact. I had the pleasure of having supper with the mayor and council of Lytton at the annual UBCM banquet. 26 months since Lytton, the village of Lytton burnt down everything. And only now, 26 months later, there's been little progress. Talked to one of the councilors, says they were just backfilling some of the property when I had talked to them at UBCM. So that 26 months, that's a lifetime for people that don't have a home. This affected the village of Lytton and the First Nations that the adjacent the boundaries of Lytton. So this was so I introduced the Minister Kang to the Council of Lytton. They were very appreciative. They were very happy to be introduced and thanked me for that thought. So with that village gone through more than any community should have endured, our problem seemed so small compared to the devastating loss of a whole village. And I expressed my thoughts to them in that matter, that what we do here in Chetwynd, what we do in communities that are fortunate enough not to have this happen to them. And there's just to come to think about Slave Lake in Alberta and Fort McMurray and Kelowna. So we're very fortunate. So our problems of bylaws and all that are very minuscule, to say the least. So they were very pleased that I introduced them to the minister, so they were thanking me very much. I said that was so little, only little things that says, but little things bring great things, and that's what the mayor conveyed to myself. And that's my report. I'll finish here. Is there any other reports? Councilor Nelson and Councilor Beck.
Thank you, and I really have to say that being at UBCM and visiting with all these smaller and larger municipalities, I feel like us smaller municipalities of the North really do have to stick together and support one another. And I do respect what you got to say there, Your Worship. So BC Hydro GoFund Board, we approved 4 grants to support 4 nonprofit groups in the area this intake. We have secured 1 more year of funding from BC Hydro, which means we have approximately 108,000 more to spend on supporting nonprofit groups in our region in the next year. And I urge all my colleagues here to speak with our local nonprofit groups who could use the additional support and apply online through the BC Hydro GoFund. The application is quite simple, and it's really worth the while. So if you know anybody who could use some funding, the GoFund is a great avenue for that. The library board, our Chetwynd Public Library construction is moving along smoothly. I'm sure everyone's noticed the windows are going in, and you can see that the project is coming together. November 1st, we're still expecting to see keys, and we did receive a letter from Minister Kang. She's granted her approval for the tri-party agreement between the District of Chetwynd, the Peace River Regional District, and the Chetwynd Public Library Association, which was a requirement in order to open the doors. So that is definitely positive. The UBCM conference, our administrator has a very thorough report. I'll give you my short rundown here. I had the pleasure of attending my first Union of British Columbia Municipalities conference in Vancouver, with our mayor, CAO, and councillors Deck and Smith. We attended sessions on the decriminalization of drugs, reconciliation, housing, wildfires, healthcare, and more. And as a group of 2,000 delegates, we passed resolutions on many important topics. These resolutions emerged from the conference, will be prioritized and brought to the province by our new UBCM board. Our team met with ministers from the province to speak about the issues that Chetwynd is experiencing. We also met with Northern Health, where we strongly urged the new CAO to pay attention to our struggles. The conference was hugely educational and an incredible networking opportunity, and I look forward to attending again next year. Thank you.
Councillor Deck, and then Councillor McDonald.
I just have a quick update from the Chetwynd Communication Society. The backup generator went out and it was noticed during the power outage that we had here when that fellow got injured at BC Hydro, and they're looking at replacing that. Bingo revenues are a bit down, and so everybody get out there buys cards. And staffing is a little low due to losing a couple of people to the school, I believe one and then, or both of them. One and then the other one went somewhere else. That's it. Thank you.
You done?
Thank you. So I sat in on the Chetwynd International Chainsaw Carving Championship Society's AGM and regular meeting on September 26th. There was a lot of positive conversation over how successful last year's event was. Overall, very successful. They had 8 pro carvers acting as assistants this year, which is very interesting. Summer fundraising was successful, raising over $10,000. They have 3 more fundraising events to go by the end of the year. The recent steak night and dance was fun and enjoyable. They donated the leftover pies and potatoes to Meals on Wheels. Updating tools is an ongoing effort, and they have tool funds that they intend to spend this year. They noticed that more carvers drove to Chetwynd this year, arriving early and bringing their own tools. Even with the carvers bringing their own tools, they noticed they were still shy and that carvers needed to share. The event planning starts for 2024, and ideas for 2026 are being brought forward. The 2026 event will be the 20th competition, and they are hoping to plan something a little extra special, potentially a champions against champions competition. They have a new log distributor, so there will be larger logs, similar size logs to previous years. And the distributor is already setting the logs aside for the competition. They are always growing and looking for new ideas. There has been lots of increased costs that they've noticed, insurance being one of them, and their acts of fundraising mitigate these costs. They're considering increasing the prize amounts. There is a new competition in Alberta now for chainsaw carvings, and they're offering larger prize amounts, so they're considering increasing these amounts to entreat the quality carvers. They now have the task of researching the 9 best carvers to invite for their next competition. And they're hoping to come and present to council in November.
Thank you. Do we have any other reports? Do we have administration report?
Yes.
Prior to that, I got one question for Julia. The GoFundMe from BC Hydro, is it all posted on our website? And where else is there? Am I correct with that is posted on BC Hydro? I mean, on our website.
In the past, I have provided a link for that. And I can make sure that when I pass my report to Lenora that she's able to input that as well. And it really is just as simple as inputting BC Hydro GoFund into your search bar, but we'll make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to see that.
Okay, thank you. So we've got that captured. Okay, yeah, Steve, CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay, so the District of Chetwynd requested meetings this year at the UBCM with the Minister of Municipal Affairs, the Minister of Forests, the Deputy Minister of Indigenous Affairs and Reconciliation, Northern Health, and the Shadow Minister for Indigenous Affairs and Reconciliation, and all the requests were approved. The meetings are super short. They're 15 minutes. It's like speed dating. You talk really fast, but they were all really well received this year. The single topic of discussion with Minister Kang of Municipal Affairs was our ongoing satellite taxation issue, the tax cap. Minister Kang was very receptive to hearing the concerns as presented, directed ministry staff to proceed to the next step for resolution and to actively work on a final resolution to present to the legislature for adoption. This represents very real progress on a long-term and serious issue. It's maybe our biggest step forward since 2009 on this. So that was very good news. Minister Kang was very supportive. The topics of discussion with the Minister of Forests were the dramatic decline of the forest industry in BC, the lack of available wood fiber in our region, programs like the Southern Caribou Recovery, the significant social and economic impact this causes our community, and future forecasts for the industry. Minister Ralston offered his assurances that the ministry understands the devastation that this continues to cause to resource-based communities like Chetwynd. There is a short-term possibility of some relief with salvage operations for the timber lost in the local wildfire. Salvage permits will be expedited as all burned standing timber must be harvested within 18 months, and salvage is dependent on the burn damage to the standing timber. General logging permitting is still what he referred to as painfully slow, and ministry staff are working with all stakeholders to resolve this issue. Our next topic of discussion with the Deputy Minister of Indigenous Affairs and Reconciliation was to ask for a forecast on what the future holds in areas like allowable timber harvest or any similar relevant updates as they relate to First Nations reconciliation. Deputy Minister McCarthy stated that this is a delicate, slow, and complicated process, and that many agreements are now in place for our region. Implementation of the agreements will be the next step, and ministry staff understands the impact that this has on the Chetwynd area and is working to ease the permitting backlog. Deputy Minister McCarthy was unable to offer a timeline for the implementation process. Next, we met with Cyril Panessa, who's the president and CEO of Northern Health, and our conversation revolved around the ongoing staff shortages for the DOC District of Chetwynd. Mr. Panessa is new to his role and offered his recruitment and retention strategy moving forward. He offered things like northern training options, training local kids locally so they people that want to stay in our community, streamlining immigrant recertification, and earn while you learn programs. Mr. Panessa identified staffing as one of his topmost priorities for his team. Next, we asked the Shadow Minister for Indigenous Affairs and Reconciliation to share his forecast on what he thinks the future holds in areas like allowable timber harvest, seniors housing, treaty land entitlement, and any similar relevant updates. Shadow Minister Lee agreed that the TLE has had a huge impact to local industry, and the opposition is monitoring the situation closely. He mentioned the District of Chetwynd having a strong relationship with the ministries helps to push things along. All parties are waiting to see how the new Chief and Council for the Saulteaux First Nation wishes to proceed with resource extraction. And finally, as a sidebar, it's not in the report, but we had a series of super productive meetings with a Little Prairie, regarding the Little Prairie Community Forest. This culminated in a 2-hour meeting with Chief and Council for Saulteaux First Nation, Chief and Council for West Moberly First Nation, and Mayor and available council for the District of Chetwynd. We all feel a real sense of hope for the future of this incredibly worthwhile partnership. And you may have noticed that there's now a posting out for a general manager for a request for proposals for a general manager for the community forest. So these are all huge steps, and a lot are due to that gentleman sitting over there and Miss Andy. So that's basically my report, and the recommendation is that council receives the report, the Union of BC Municipalities Convention ministerial meetings for information.
Prior to that, do you have any questions for CA? Okay, not hearing any. Okay,
Motion to receive the reports.
second by Councilor Deck. Any more discussion on it? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, discussion items invite from Shell Canada, Shell Canada's integrated gas Groundbridge open house.
I'll make that recommendation that council authorize the mayor or alternate to attend Shell's Canada Integrated Gas Groundbridge open house at McLeod Community Hall, October 19th, 2023.
Discussion on it? All those in favor? Carried. Email from BC Natural Resource Forum dated September 6, 2023. Read 2024 BC Natural Resource Forum registration is now open.
I'll make the recommendation that all members of council be authorized to attend the 2024 BC Natural Resources Forum in Prince George, January 16th to 18th, 2024.
I'll second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence. Letter from the District of Tumbler Ridge dated June 29, 2023. Gratitude for opening up Chetwynd community during Tumbler Ridge wildfire.
Motion to receive.
Second.
I am just going to read. Is that okay, CL? Okay. I'm writing to express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the residents of Tumbler Ridge for the tremendous support and hospitality extended by the community of Chetwynd during the recent wildfire incident. On Thursday, June 8, 2023, our town faced an unprecedented threat due to the raging wildfire that posed a significant risk to the safety and well-being of our residents. In the face of the crisis, the warm embrace of Chetwynd opened its doors, offering a haven to those who were forced to evacuate their homes. Your quick and decisive action is providing shelter, assistance, and resources to our community during the challenging time exemplifies the true spirit of unity and compassion. The promptness with which the Chetwynd Council mobilized the necessary resources and coordinate the relief efforts is truly commendable. And I have to put in here, council only is part of what we do. This had to do with mainly staff organizing. I came in here, attempted to give my support and help, and they said, we got it covered. I just got out of the way. So thank you, staff, for this. This is to do with staff. We are just representatives of Chetwynd on council, but our staff did this work. We were immensely touched by the generosity and care exhibited by the residents of Chetwynd, who selfishly welcomed us into their homes, schools, and community centers. Your willingness to share your resources, time, and support was a beacon of hope for our displaced families. The seamless integrations of our communities during the crisis has forged bonds that will undoubtedly endure beyond this challenging periods. As the flames subside and we are able to return to our beloved Tumbler Ridge on Thursday, June 15, 2023, we carry with us a profound sense of gratitude for Chetwynd's unwavering support. The tremendous effort put forth by your community during the wildfire crisis has left an indelible mark on our hearts and minds. On behalf of the residents of Tumbler Ridge, I would once again like to express our deepest appreciation for your selflessness, compassion, and resilience during this difficult time. Tumbler Ridge. Daryl Krakowka. Mayor of Tumbler Ridge. Thank you, staff. Okay, we've got a phone going off somewhere. I'll get it. Okay, any discussion on it? Any comments? Councilor McDonald?
I just have a comment. I was working for the library at the time, and a lot of the Tumbler Ridge residents came in and they did express how grateful they were to the Chetwynd district staff for the efforts they put in for making their time here a little bit more comfortable. And it really spoke to the love and heart that you all put into it. So thank you as well.
Councilor Nelson?
I'd just like to add how convenient it was that we hosted a chainsaw carving competition for them while they were all displaced. We not only did we take care of them, we entertained them quite well.
Any other comments or questions? Not hearing any? All those in favor? Carried. Email from ADD Mining International Limited dated. Email from ADD Mining International Limited dated August 28, 2023, read draft Murray River Project Economic and Social Effects Management Plan.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Information items.
Motion to receive I-1 to I-20.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Reports for action, opportunity for the public input. RA1.
I need to recuse myself.
Councilor Smith, recuse.
Make the motion that pursuant to section 498 of the Local Government Act, RS 2015, authorize issuance of development variance permit number 03-2023 to Dana Wilfer to allow a 30 by 40 garage to be built next to his house. The maximum square footage of the garage, as well as the height and width of the garage on Lot 2, District Lot 398, Peace River District Plan 25063, also known as 5309 Hillside Ave, Chetwynd, C.
Prior to second, I have to read the statement, so I will read this prior to a second. We have development variance permit number 0, November 3rd, 2023, 5309 Hillside Avenue, Dana Wolper. Public comment period. This portion of the regular council meeting is set aside to allow for public comments on the application from Dana Wolfer for a development variance permit to allow a 30 by 40 garage to be built next to his house, as well as height and width of the garage on the property located at 5309 Hillside Avenue. This is not a formal public process, but rather an informal process. I will, however, ask each person who wishes to speak to state their name, residential or business address, and then provide council with their comments. I will now ask if there are any comments from the public on the application from David Wolfer for a development variance permit on 5309 Hillside Avenue. Are there any further comments? Not hearing any further comments, I declare this public proceedings concluded. Continue, Councillor Nelson. So she read.
Second.
Second, discussion. All those in favor? Show of hands. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. RA2 Exceed Construction Corp. Development Variance Permit Number 04/2023.
I'll make the motion that pursuant to section 49A of the Local Government Act, RS 2015, Council of the District of Chetwynd give notice that it will be receiving an application from Exceed Construction Corp. Requesting approval of a development variance permit application to allow construction of a 5-foot fence in the front yard of the existing building on the property located at Lot 6, District Lot 1814, PRD Plan 10186. Also known as 4717 47th Street, Chetwynd, BC, and that administration be directed to advertise a public input opportunity with respect to the above application to be scheduled on October 16th, 2023.
Discussion on it? Councilor Net?
That fence is just built, isn't it? All the posts and everything are in on it.
I'm unaware of that. If it is, they're kind of jumping the gun a little bit. Yeah, they might have put the posts in prior to this being done, you know, while the ground's soft. That'd be my guess, but I've heard of it, I'm sorry.
What would be the detriment to having a 5-foot fence? Like we have a 4-foot fence you're allowed right now?
Generally, it's 3 feet in the front, but this building is backwards. So the parking is all in the back, the yards are in the front. As access for, like, usually that's because of access for first responders. But first responders would pull into the parking lot in this case anyway, so in our opinion, there's nothing really detrimental about it. And the plans all look like it's a worthwhile, like a attractive fence and it's a worthwhile reason.
Any more discussion on it?
Sure. I just read that their reasoning is that lots of the tenants have larger dogs that could potentially leap a shorter fence. And I think it's just great that we have the possibility for tenant occupied properties that do allow pets, because a lot of them don't.
Any more? Okay. Call the question. All those in favor? Carried. RA3 Source Energy Service Holding Limited Development Permit Number 08/2023.
I'll make the recommendation that council approve the issuance of development permit number 08/2023 to Source Energy Services Holding Limited to construct a pad berm 43 feet by 59 feet and install a 6 by 400 barrel tanks for the purpose of storing and transloading de-icer calcium fluoride at 4590 Nicholson Road, Block C, DL 2142, PRD, except Plan 32045, subject to Ministry, Transportation and Infrastructure approval.
Second.
For discussion, whereabouts location on Nicholson Road would this be located on CAO?
As indicated in the map at the end, it's past it's in the CN yard rail, past their big shop there.
Any other discussion? Councilor Smith?
So I'm guessing the berm is in case there's a leak.
Yes, it's basically brine. It's calcium chloride salt water. It's relatively inert. It doesn't tend to off gas. It's what we use in the arena for making hockey ice. And we use it on roads up here for dust suppression and de-icing. So it's very carefully constructed to provincial standards. It has a protective berm around it. There's 6 400-gallon or 400-barrel tanks, and they follow all the established legislation. given its proximity to the rail yard, it allows them to tank it in, store it, and then have it on hand for when we need it.
Any other discussion on it? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. RA4, Dome for Us, SLI Towers Inc., development permit number 09-2023.
I'll make the recommendation that council approve the issuance of development permit number 09-2023 to Dom Claros, SLI Towers, Inc. for a new slimline self-support tower structure at 4325 46 Drive Northeast, Lot 3, DL 494, PRD Plan 24681, subject to Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure approval.
I'll second.
Discussion on it? Councilor Ward?
So is this necessary for, does this relate to Telus' fiber optic or Shaw's fiber optics?
This is cell phone communication, so I don't think so.
Okay.
But what it does is it's designed to improve cell phone reception in an area that sometimes gets poor reception. It's in the industrial park, so it has little or no impact to, residents' view from their homes. Again, a very well thought out proposal. They go through all the legislative requirements. It's safe, it's relatively unobtrusive, and it's in a good location.
Okay, so what if this wasn't approved to go forward? How would it negatively affect?
Well, people in some areas of town that currently don't get good cell phone reception all the time still would not get good cell phone reception. So that would be the biggest impact.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. RA5, BC Active Transportation Grant Funding Application.
I'll make a motion that council authorize staff to submit a shovel-ready application for BC Active Transportation Grant funding to construct a sidewalk extension along 47th Ave Northwest and 52nd Street Northwest, and that council support the project and commit to its financial share of the project.
Second.
Discussion on it?
Yeah, I'll just add that I think there's a lot of value connecting the Solaris place all the way over to where the Pomeroy already has a pretty nice sidewalk area. I think it's going to be really great for not just our senior citizens, but anyone visiting over at Solaris.
Yeah. Councilor.
Oh, okay. I just have a question. Is the other part of the funding, did we already approve that sort of in our budget, or is this new for next year's funding?
This would be for construction in 2024, and so we will be adding this to our capital planning. That'll be coming up next couple months.
So that would be 30%. Correct. Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Reports for information, August accounts payable checklist.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Questions, discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Reports for information, building permit values.
Motion to receive?
Second.
Discussion. Not seeing any. All those in favor? Carried. New business. Tax issue, Counselor Deck.
I heard a novel idea the other day on, I believe it was CBC or BCTV, that one of the community is thinking about withholding their taxes that they're remitting to the provincial government for failure to provide healthcare. I thought that might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think there might be a refund in line for our taxpayers for the amount of times the hospital's been on diversion. Thoughts?
Well, I will say, Councillor Deck, that that is quite a novel idea, and we clearly have been struggling in Chetwynd, and some drastic measures do need to be taken to protect our community and our people and our taxpayers, so I wouldn't say that I'm completely opposed to it.
It is definitely an interesting concept, and it is a struggle that we have here in the community, and if it's included, you know, in our tax dollars, it is a challenge, I'm assuming, from the District of Chetwynd's perspective to refund without gaining any funds back. It'd be good to see like the provincial government making the first step and then District of Chetwynd doing the second step.
I suspect it'd be a bit of a fishing trip, and I know what the answer would be from Northern Health for starters, but it is a service that the community of Chetwynd is paying for, and we aren't getting the full service. I don't know if it's worth it.
Staff?
We can always ask the question. I see my CFO is thinking, oh, that's probably me going to be asking the question. He's probably right, but we'll see what we can do. We'll ask around. We'll talk to province. We'll talk to other communities. We'll get back to council on it. I'm assuming that's the direction the council wishes us to take.
So what happens if CFO just withholds taxes?
Well, then we look at fines and stuff, I would assume, and we probably don't want to go down that road.
Yes, the possibilities of us doing something that we think is very credible because it's an opportunity to open eyes, which is pretty. It would be a brave step, I would say, but as for anything that we do in our business, it always comes down to legal. And if we have that step and we do make that step, we better be prepared for what is coming. So just gonna push that over to our CFO and see what that of his.
I'll just give Kevin a little relief first. All I'm doing is suggesting that just maybe just stir up a little dust. Not start saying or not sending.
So, what I would say is, I did see the story on the news the other day. And my first thought was, what taxes is he withholding? I don't pay anything to the provincial government for healthcare. We all pay on our personal income taxes to the province that covers healthcare. The municipality does pay on behalf of our employees a healthcare tax. Maybe that's the one he's talking about withholding. I wasn't quite sure based on the story what he was talking about withholding from the province, and the healthcare tax wasn't the first one that came to mind, but that might be what he was talking about withholding. And
Well, then maybe something just as simple as a request from the citizens to check on their personal tax form that they deserve. And it should be pretty easy.
yeah, I think more than anything, it's he's attempting to get the province's attention to the matter, and he's hoping that threatening something like this will be enough to get them to try and deal with it a little bit, I think.
And like I said, I'm not asking anybody to threaten or anything, but just at least, how about this?
Okay, yeah, that's gone far enough. The chair and the mayor, I think that's good enough for us. It's been put out there, and it's a novel idea, and we all appreciate thinking outside the box because it's important that our healthcare is taken care of, and we all deserve that in British Columbia and throughout Canada. So it is something that is brought to our attention here at council because people out there are thinking about our health, and we appreciate that very much, Councillor Deck and CFO. So we all appreciate that very much. And with that, thank you for that, bringing that up. And any questions from the public on the matters that happened today? Okay. Questions from media? Okay. Adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, staff. Thank you, Councillor.
Oh, what is gonna happen? A gold armor skeleton!
She almost lost her only friend. No.
Hey, Kat. I have a bone to pick with you.
Welcome to Chat TV Gaming.
Hey, when the sun comes up in the morning sky, there I will be, there I will be, soaring with the eagle so high, feeling free. Remember me, down the road, hand in hand, you and me. Hey-oh, hey-oh, hey-oh. Hello, hey, 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 oh, hey, oh, hey, hey,
You asked me, is it fine to cry over nothing? It is! I'm breaking down.
Walks me down the aisle, my mother starts to cry, but I can't see 'cause Link and I are French kissing. Listen, I can hear the bell.
Pair of new shoes with matching laces.
Permanent box at the Sheep's Head races.
Strawberry rye with a sour pick. My personal puss on a wooden nickel.
Look at me, I'm the king of New York. Suddenly, I'm respectable, staring right at you, lousy with stature, numbing with all the marketing bucks.
Hi, I'm Jillian McDonald, local Tim Hortons owner for Chetwynd. And it's camp day, and all of our proceeds from hot and iced coffee go to the Tim's Foundation camp.